Hey y'all, welcome to Dirt Water Sass. We're here again just talking about our journeys in our life growing up under our parents who struggled with drug addiction in the same household, but yet our journeys we took completely different journeys. So today is actually going to be a fun one. At the time, it was not fun, but it's fun now looking back. And the thing is that we all have those stories in our teenage years that aren't we glad that we had parents that caught us doing things?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about some of those times. Now, my sister has a lot more than I do, so most will be her. I have at least one, maybe two that I got caught doing something I shouldn't have done. So it's going to be funny. But again, this is a series with Dirtwater Sass where we're focusing on me and my sister who are took very different paths in life. And you're going to see that throughout this series. And it's called The Difference Between A and B, me being A, her being B, and just how we've come together now and at this point in our life after going through all those things, and we can kind of look back through our childhood and talk about those things and what it's like growing up with parents who suffered from drug addiction and most of our childhood was very rough, but there were some good moments too. And praise the Lord that we can look back now and we can kind of laugh about some of those things. And a lot of it you'll see throughout this series is that my memories are completely different than my sister's, and she has memories that I don't even have. And there's different perspectives with the same kind of memories in the same situation. So it's quite interesting what drug addiction does to 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 people and how it affects people differently. And
Mhm.
so hopefully, this is a series that you can actually laugh at sometimes, maybe cry at sometimes, maybe just gives you hope that today's doesn't have to be the
Every
most
day.
unhappiest day. Like there's hope in the future. There's always hope, and you don't have to. You can look back on your life and hopefully laugh at it, or find some good things, or those moments when God was stepping in, and you could actually see that now when it didn't feel like then. So anyway, let's get on with this. This is going to be episode talking about those times that we got caught doing stuff we shouldn't have been doing. I just want to preface this time period in that we didn't have cell phones. We
Yeah,
didn't have trackers. We used we used regular phones.
the
Um,
yep.
so when we told our parents what we were doing, there was no other way for them to know unless someone else called them or they just happened to find out.
Just
So
popped up.
yeah, but there's no
And which
tracker.
that's gonna be in that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
just popped up.
There's no apps now. There was none of that then. It was
No.
just our parents had to trust what we were telling them and where we were and who we were with. And so anyway, so I'm going to start with you because you kind of brought this subject up and I know that you have many stories. So what was the one story that you remember the most?
Oh gosh. Okay. So this was when I just turned 16. Hmm. Oh gosh, this is a good one. Um there's one before that, but oh gosh, I have to go through them. It's like a tablet. But the one I remember the most The one I remember the most is I had just turned 16 and mom let me borrow her car, that little gold Toyota Corolla. I don't know if you remember that. And I was spending the night with a friend, and she was 2 years younger than me. We went to church together. Found that funny. So I went to spend the night with her, and we decided that it would be a good idea for her to sneak out the window and go to this teen club that was there for, gosh, years, years. You were
What
actually,
was the name of that? I can't remember.
it was a teen night at Gilligan's Island. Was it Gilligan's Island, or it turned into Gilligan's Island? I can't remember what was the original name of that.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't
I
matter.
can't remember, but that's where they would have teen night and all the teens could go. So we decided to sneak out of the window, and I was like, I got my mom's car. It'll be fine. We'll be fine. They won't catch us. So let me just step back 2 steps. So we didn't, like Ash, well, like my sister said, we didn't have cell phones and things like that at the time, but I had a beeper. My dad gave me a beeper. Yeah, I had a beeper.
Really? I've never had a beeper
I
ever.
had a
I've
beeper
never had a beeper.
because he was, I think, after so many episodes, he wanted, he wanted to get a hold.
Not me.
But not you. I'm talking about, they were worried, because I had a previous arrest. Anyway, we'll get to that. So they were always worried about what I was doing and trying to watch everything I was doing. And somehow they just knew. I don't know how parents know, but they knew. And we drove to that little club. We wasn't there, I swear we wasn't there 45 minutes. And we were having a blast. We were just, oh my gosh, we were having so much fun. And we couldn't do anything. Like they're not going to serve you drinks or anything like that. We were just happy to just be out, part of the crowd. Anyway, so about 45 minutes after, I heard my name being called over the intercom. And it wasn't by the name that I go by. It wasn't by Brooke. It was by my first name. Look,
You knew it was real then.
no, I knew. No, I knew. I looked at my friend and I said, oh. I said, oh, I knew right then it was Dad. I already knew. Look, look, we go bumping through the crowd. I was like, stay in front of me. Stay in front of me. Look, she was like, why? I was like, because it's my dad. I already know it. I mean, there was tons of people there. Okay. Friends that I went to school with, my very best friends. And let me remind you, they were all outside hanging out. They called my name to the front. Mm. So I come bumping through, acting like everything's okay, but I knew in my heart that this was about to be a disaster. And what do I see? I see Dad with his Bill Cosby hat on above everybody, and he wore that. Okay, and let me say, when he wore that hat, it's a specific hat. It snaps in the front, and when he wears that hat, he means business. And I saw it over everybody. It was like everything. I just had a blackout, and that's all I could see was his hat. I was so scared to walk to the front, but I was like, there's no way I'm going to get out of here. They're going to find me. We walked to the front. As soon as I walk up, he said, girl, what are you doing here? I said, Dad, we were just dancing, having a good time. He said, look, he said, get outside. And he told my friend, he said, you too. We go outside, and he smacks me right on my forehead.
We're laughing about this now because we understand the situation.
Yeah. Oh, I would probably do the same. He smacked me right on the forehead like that. I just fell back. I said, Dad, stop, please. Look, he took me by my shirt and grabbed me. He said, get in the car. I said, but what about? He said, we'll come back and get it. He said, I'm taking her home and I'm taking you home. I think I was grounded for a month. I was grounded for a month, but that was probably the start of it. But you have to, and I know I can't say names. There's particular people that were standing outside that embarrassed me the most. Boyfriend, certain friends that I went to school with that they were going to tell everybody. Well, I didn't see anybody for about a month after that.
Can
Um,
you imagine if there were social media?
oh,
Oh, that would have been everywhere.
it would have ruined me. It would have
Oh, it might
ruined
have
me.
ruined dad too, honestly, but yeah, it
Well,
would have been
oh,
everywhere.
it wasn't. That's what I'm saying. He was just being a dad.
Yeah.
He was just trying to
We
make
actually need
sure.
more of that these days. We actually need more of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Um, and then the one, actually, I don't know if it was before or after that. I was at a party and it was, you remember when we were younger, they always had big keg parties and, oh, okay, maybe it's just me.
I mean, I'm sure they did. I just wasn't. Remember, I got saved at 14, so
Well, I did
I
too.
wasn't involved in that. I
I got
wasn't
saved.
involved in that.
I got saved at 14 too.
Again, two different religious journey.
Look, look. I didn't say I didn't love Jesus. I just didn't always follow the rules. um.
I love Jesus and followed the rules.
Well, I did. It was a major breakup for me that steered me off on a different course, and I love that boy so very much. Not to put blame on anybody, but it did. It anyway. We'll go into that. So I was at a big old cake party, and me and my best friend were sitting in the
Wait, wait,
car.
wait. Do they still call them keg parties?
No, you can't. No, you can't do anything like that anymore because there's so many.
Because
There's so many
I
Karens.
the Karen.
Like, you can't have parties anymore. No,
Well,
there's
just
so.
in case people don't know what a keg party is, it's a big beer. Like you bought a keg, like it's
And
got
we
the
would
keg.
do keg stands.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's beer. It's beer. So
Yeah, it's just a big, keg of beer. And people that are listening.
the only keg I've ever been around in my life
Mm,
was that someone bought that as a gift for our wedding. That was the first
your
keg.
wedding?
Yes, someone thought they were gonna buy a keg for after our wedding, and I'd never been around a keg before.
To venture off, I'll finish the story in a second, but I lived in a quadruplex when I turned 18. We put a keg, and I lived in an upstairs apartment. We put a keg in my upstairs apartment. It started leaking through the ceiling.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, that
Look,
is not the life I've lived.
no, I did. Um, um, and this is why we talk about these things because um, it really none of it's worth it. But and it led to so many problems in my life. Um, but like I said, my sister's always been there. But we were at that party, and actually, the cop that arrested me that night, we're really good friends now. Um, but we were leaving the party. Me and my bestie at the time, we were waiting on her boyfriend to come out. And I was in the back seat, she was in the passenger seat. But because the car was started, a cop walked up. Somebody had called and said they had complaints on a party. Everybody, 40 to 50 people were inside. And it gets quiet. Cops go knocking on the door. But who did they catch? Just sitting in the car. Out of 48, 50 people, who gets caught? And I'm trying to go home. I had maybe 2 beers. 2 beers. He comes knocking on the window, and I was like, he said, ladies, what have y'all been up to tonight? I was like, oh, nothing. We're just hanging out. He said, step out of the car. They made me do a breathalyzer, and I kept trying to lightly blow. Well, we failed. Um, so they took us in for a juvenile DWI. And this is going to sound so funny, but it wasn't funny at the time. We got down to the police station and they called mom and dad. And what upset me the most was they took my shoestrings out of my Doc Martens and I didn't get them back.
Get that though. I
Yes!
totally understand that.
They took my shoestrings out of my most important boots. I still have Doc Martens to this day. You can't take my shoestrings. And when I was starting to leave, when dad walked up, of course, I got another, right there. I got those a lot. I think towards the middle of everything, it started to become
I mean, they weren't working, so I don't know why he kept doing it because they weren't working, obviously.
no, that was, well, at the time what was he doing? What was he doing? Yeah, you're right. So all they had time to focus on was just what I was doing. They're not worried about you. You were good. See, that was probably I never thought about that. See, that's how stupid I was.
But you should always blame me for being so good because
I
they didn't
did.
they didn't have to worry about me. All the attention was on you and your screw ups.
Oh my God. I was like the main focus.
Although I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing anything bad, but
No, no, she wasn't. Thank you. Yeah,
yeah,
and
it had to be. So how old were you?
let's see, I was 17 um,
Oh,
when I got the DWI, but I was 15 when dad lost his job.
okay. So I was dating my husband. I was dating my husband.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay. Yes.
wait, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I started there when I was 16. I mean, the day I turned 16, I started. And then y'all met where we was working. I think it was maybe, yeah, it was kind of, what, a year after?
But I don't remember this arrest incident for whatever reason. Was this before you getting kicked out of school, or was this after?
Yes. This was before me getting kicked out of
Okay, I
school.
don't rem I don't y yeah, then I don't remember this.
Yeah,
So,
it was before they, yeah, gave me my boots. I was like, can I get my shoestrings back? And dad said, shut up and get in the car. I said, I just want my shoestrings. What I was worried about was when I got home. I sat on the couch in the corner. Just, I knew I shouldn't say a word. Grounded for a month again. I was grounded so much. It never lasted. It never lasted.
really?
No, not for a whole month. It would be like 2 weeks, maybe
Oh
3.
gosh. I feel like
Yeah.
mine always lasted.
Well, I think
But
they were just,
I only have like one. So,
yeah, just one. And I'll remember. Look, let's see. 3, 4. Okay, I can't. Okay. can't even
Oh,
count. I can't even
oh,
count. I need about. Does anybody have a set of hands?
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was some experiences definitely for on my end. Which let me say, I dragged a lot of people into those that did not deserve to be dragged into that. So I just want to reiterate that.
Well, I also keep thinking because I constantly tell my kids, you become who you hang out with. And that really you are a
It's
testimony to that.
true.
I mean,
It's
you
true.
were hanging out with the same kids in your group were just as rebellious. The
Well,
same kids in your group were just as readily to rebel against their parents. Maybe they didn't get caught every time, but that's who they were.
well, let me say this real quick. When I got saved at 14, um, I was on fire. I was on fire. My basketball coach, she was so proud of me. I would sit in, was it choir? Choir? You had to pick
Probably.
between choir or band. I was in the seventh grade. And I would sit there and write down Bible verses because I couldn't sing. I couldn't save it. If somebody said put a gun to your head and sing a tune, I would die. Like I could not sing. Um, I tried to do band at first, but they said my gap was so big in my teeth. I don't have it now, but uh, she said my gap was so big I was wanting to play the saxophone. Yeah. She said it was so big it wouldn't work. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to choir. uh, that's a true story. And I
You know,
remember,
they still do that requirement today. Like you either have to take band or choir.
I
Like
know.
I hate that.
That
I
is,
absolutely hate that requirement because it's so dumb. It's such a wasted opportunity for a kid to learn something else that actually
they're
reflects their
interested in.
personality. Yes, I hate that requirement. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's
What a waste.
ridiculous.
What a
I
waste.
mean, maybe I don't want to do either one, but I remember sitting there. I was writing Bible verses in my notebook, and I talked to my little group of girlfriends because I was just, something changed in my heart when we prayed that prayer. It did. I can't describe it. You only have to learn for yourself once you do it. But that's when the Holy Spirit takes over. And He's in your heart forever. Trust me. I got many stories about that because if you get in trouble or you get in any kind of he if you continue on the way you're doing and nothing ever happens, it's because you don't have him in your life. But when he intervenes, and he's only doing it because he loves you, and you think that you're being punished or you just have the worst luck in America, or no, it's because he's in your heart and he wants the best for you. And it took me a long time to understand that. Um, but once I said that prayer and I wholeheartedly meant it, and I meant every word that was taken in, every thought. Um, I cried, and I thank my sister for that. Um, but he was in my heart from that day on, and
Which takes me back to at this point when you accepted Christ, you weren't part of this group of rebellious friends. Like this wasn't your original friend group at the time. You experienced a very traumatic breakup
I
at
did,
the time, and
I
you
did,
did not have the support around you during that time, and it kind of led you down a really dark path because you just weren't able to get out of that rut, which led you to a path that allowed you to live out the anger and rebellion, and you rebelled against everything. You rebelled against your parents, you rebelled against God, you rebelled against the Holy Spirit in your life, and eventually, God is a God of free choice. And he's not going to force you to do anything ever.
No.
That's not even a part of his character. And he's gonna let you go on. Like if that's what you
Yeah,
choose, and that's true love, right? Like if
that's
you
true
want
love.
to go that route, if you want to live that life, I hope that you don't. I've given you everything you need to not make those choices. But if you choose that, anything that happens from your choices is on you. It's
Absolutely.
on you. It's not God. God does not punish you on that journey. Every consequence
Exactly.
is on you. He never wanted you to go that route, but he's never, ever, ever going to force you to do something that you don't want to do. I mean, he's just not,
Exactly.
it's not part of who he is. And so I just want to make that clear because he gives us warnings in the Bible to protect us,
Yes,
to love us. And if we don't choose to follow them, then there's consequences to that. And,
absolutely.
and for you, the consequence because you didn't deal with the bitterness and the hurt and the anger from that event in your life, you chose to rebel, hoping that it would make you feel better. And it was temporary pleasures, right? Like it was temporary things because Satan's always there to take his opportunity to still kill and destroy every time. Like he's always there waiting. He is waiting. He is waiting to enforce
Always.
evil onto your
Always.
life. He's not something of love. He is a pure evil. So he
Absolutely.
does everything in his power that he possibly can to kind of get in there when he knows there's a weakness, and he's
Yeah, like a
and when
snake.
yeah, like a snake. That's what he does. And
Hmm.
so I say that, and maybe we'll just kind of end on this because I think you have a journey that is a very powerful testimony to the fact that you become who you choose to hang out with, number one. And number two is, a lot of times youth groups and youth pastors and other Christian adults like to encourage teenagers to enter these really unsafe spaces that they may not be ready for. And not every Christian teenager is to a point in their walk where they're able to handle those friend groups or whatever, right? Like
Right.
that's a big deal to acknowledge.
Before we end, I just want to touch on two things. So the reason I went to that club was after he broke up with me, I heard he was there. And I was still heartbroken. So that's kind of the point that you're making. And I didn't, and he was so on fire. He was so on fire. And that's what I loved about him. And I was, I put more faith in him than I did. But, and another point I want to hit is when I did try to witness to my friends in middle school, they all stopped being friends with me. I didn't even have a friend anymore.
That was me too. I just had a very good youth leader and Sunday school teacher.
Right. And we used to have prayer around the pole at school, FCA. They would not even, and I know that things are trying to get back in track with that. I don't know. But that's the problem. But I guess, God is being pulled out of everything in schools, and nobody talks about it anymore. And that's exactly why I want to sit here and say that all these problems that I went through and all the events, it led to nothing but destruction. I thought I was having a good time until I wasn't. It always ended bad because he was always there with me, and I thank him for that.
Yeah, and I think another thing that just kind of popped in my head for young believers, I want to focus on women,
Yeah,
mostly young girls, but
right.
I think I would say this to young men as well, is that as a new believer, I just don't know if it's healthy to be in a relationship.
No,
Um,
no.
I think it's very important as a young believer to really focus on the Lord and instill an identity that is solid, with a solid foundation with the Lord and what He tells you and who He tells you your identity is with and for. And I think that's vital. And I feel like in your situation, you became a new believer while in a relationship,
Right.
and you were
Yeah.
trying to establish this relationship with Jesus. At the same time, you're in a very romantic, emotional relationship with the believer that was already on fire. I would think that, I knowing him, I would think if he were to look back, he'd probably say the same, that it
Of
wasn't good for him
course.
either, right? Because at the time you were unequally yoked. I mean, he had been a Christian for a while and he was on fire. He was a youth group leader, and you were unequally yoked, meaning that his journey was a little bit further than yours. And at the time, he probably thought, this is great. You know, you got saved, you're good. We're no longer unequally yoked because you're saved, I'm saved. But that's not the case, especially
Right.
when you're young. It's very, very dangerous.
And
And
confusing.
it's very confusing. And as you know, you're a perfect testimony of what can come out of that. Not all the time, but what can come out of it and what you're risking if you're in an unequally yoked relationship as a young
Absolute.
believer like that. It's very, very dangerous. Um, it just is. So, again, that's just an encouragement. And you've already, because of your testimony, we've already talked about some really encouraging things that have come out of your testimony, and we could go on because I got caught too, and I came to know
Well, why
Jesus.
don't you just park on that for a minute?
Well, again, I was 14, and I was part of the in crowd. I was part of the click crowd.
Well,
I
she
was,
was in the click crowd, please believe me.
but I mean, I was most beautiful at one time. Like I
She
was,
was,
that was
yeah.
my crowd. Those were my friends that I had known since the fourth grade when we moved to Jackson.
And she
So
was the most beautiful.
anyway, that was my crowd, and we this particular night we just happened to get caught. I mean, and we never
Well, I
did.
thought you told on yourself.
No,
I
no, we
could
never.
just,
Well, I got caught and then had to, right? Like I got caught and then was
you were
like, well,
scared. I always lied.
I mean, I kind of already been doing this, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, we were kind of in the same situation. We were at the same dance club, at the same teen club. Man, that club. How many other
Spinnakers. That was
Spinnakers? Yes,
Spinnakers. That was it.
that's
It just
it.
Spinnakers. That was
Yes.
it. And they
How
even had
many?
her on the front of the newspaper because she's such a good dancer. They put her on the front of the newspaper. I think that's what got. I don't
Wait, no,
know.
no, no, no. That was another time. So I
Okay,
have
that
another story to go along with that later
that
on.
was close to the same time you passed out in the shower because you had suntan poisoning.
Well, I had
That was.
suntan yeah, I had suntan poisoning multiple times
We would
actually.
lay out for 14 hours at a time.
Yes, that's a whole nother.
We not have skin cancer yet. Okay, anyway.
Don't jinx it. Oh my gosh.
No, I said yet.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
They
anyway,
probably did.
but
But anyway, okay.
this one particular instance, I was not a believer. I wasn't a believer. I mean, that wasn't my goal. None of us really were. I
Which
mean,
we didn't know. We went to church when we were little.
yeah. I mean,
Angels aware.
yeah, right, right, right. But we also, I mean, it was just like beer. It wasn't like there was nothing else. There was nothing else that we did. Like we didn't do any, that was it. Like it was nothing else.
Yeah, we
Um,
didn't. Yeah.
but but yeah, we were at the same teen club, and I had told
Hmm.
my parents I was spending a night at someone's house. That's what we all told our parents, the same thing. And we ended up at this teen club, and we had older friends. So we had older friends that drove. And so we ended up leaving the teen club and going to one of the hotel room parties. And I
Oh,
still remember the feeling. I still remember feeling walking in going, I don't like this.
you
Like
knew.
I didn't like, I still remember that feeling, and I was kind of always the one that took care of everybody anyway. Like, I was never the one. I was like the mama of the group anyway. That's what I would call myself. But I remember my friends right away started chugging. I mean, they were chugging and chugging and chugging. And then someone bust in the hotel room and said, "All of your parents are looking for you. The cops have been called." And
Wow.
we all jumped in this vehicle. I think it was a Bronco at the time. I remember the guy who was driving, I passed away actually. He's gone. Like, that's sad. I'll tell you his name after. I'm not going to say it
I
online.
think I know who you're, but I hope not. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm correct on that. Anyway, and then my best friend, one of my best friends, I thought she was dead in the floorboard. She was throwing up so much. Like, I thought she was
She had
going to
alcohol
die.
poisoning.
Oh my gosh. And so we get to, I mean, we are speeding. We are in the car with the drunk driver. Literally, we are in the car. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, what the
How
heck?
did we make it through?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my God. None of us had seatbelts on. I mean, I remember him because the house we were going to was really out in the boonies. Like, it was out. And we ended up at this house and our parents were there waiting for all of us.
I think I know what house you're talking about.
Yeah, our parents were waiting there. My dad didn't say a word. I think I blacked out actually. Like, in my memory, I think I blacked out because
You were so like
not
worried,
physically blacked out, but I think like, I think I blacked out until we got home, and then I
right?
walk in and there's mom and dad. I think we all went to bed. I don't think anything was said until the next day. I mean, I think they were so upset. Like, I was their oldest. This is the first time they had ever experienced anything like this. They
It's
never.
immediate, just bam.
I mean,
What?
I was the first. They've never experienced anything like this before. I had never done anything like this before.
Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like the
So anyway, my ground, I was grounded for a month. My dad called all of my friends and told all of the parents that I was never allowed to hang out with their kids again. I got letters from my best friends begging me to still be their friend, begging me to, like, because I
oh
couldn't talk on the phone. I couldn't communicate. Like,
yeah.
I could not do anything. And I mean, I had no phone, no TV. I couldn't go anywhere. It was too
That
scary.
probably made my freaking week.
Probably.
I was like, she's in trouble.
But yeah, but it was such a blessing because my other friend, I did have a
It
really good
saved
friend.
you.
Well, I did have a really good friend that was going to church.
I
Um,
remember. I
and
remember.
I immediately called her the next. I was allowed to call her. I was allowed to call her, and I immediately started going to church with her. And that's what, and then I accepted Christ and I never looked back. So, I mean, even to this day, I was just talking to one of those friends that were part of that group that night, and there's only two of us from that group that are actually believers. And she's just like me. She thinks like me. We're on the same page, and we were just communicating about those times.
Right.
And still to this day, my bestest friend, who was my Sunday school teacher at the time, is still a part of my life. So,
Oh
um,
yeah.
God definitely had a hand on me. But the time that you're talking about me being on the front cover of the newspaper was, yeah, I started dating a guy somewhere in that, and he ended up he ended up breaking up with me, and
I
I thought
remember who it was.
and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna
I
go
think.
to this teenage dance club. I don't do any of that stuff. I can dance. And I didn't.
Yeah,
I
she
didn't
used
do.
to tell me you can't dance. Stop it.
Oh,
So
I can tear it up, girl.
no, no, she was like, you can't dance. Stop, Brooke. Stop it. Okay, it
And
is
but
what it is.
that was that time. And I only went one time because I ended up on the front page. And then my youth pastor called me out, and I'm like,
You went several times to teen night.
no, this was after I had become a Christian and after that breakup. I went to
Oh,
church
okay,
and I never
okay.
went back.
I know.
Yeah, I
Okay,
never went. Yeah, I never
okay.
but because that was God's tap. I knew I shouldn't have been there. Like I that wasn't a place for me. That was that song that was in some the song I remember the song playing. I saw the sign. Remember that song?
Yeah. I
Yes, it was
opened
during
up my eyes, I
Yep,
saw the
yep.
sign. Okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, and all that she wants is another baby.
Yes, that was the song at the time. So that kind of get puts a timestamp on that
The
particular.
times. We were
Yeah, but
young.
anyway, so my mom and dad, I prepared you for them. It could have been worse if I would have never gotten caught. So I did do you a favor because it could have been worse for you.
Yeah. And that made that worse was me. I just said, you know what? And I do think a lot of it had to do with that at first initial breakup.
Yeah.
Um, I chased that idea for years.
And let's just say it wasn't you that left the like it wasn't you that walked away. He walked away too.
Yeah, I know,
I
but
mean, both of you walked away from the
yeah,
Lord
yeah,
and
I
had
know.
and had very similar lifestyles actually
And
dealing with
sometimes,
dealing
well,
with addiction.
sometimes I wonder. I'm like, who did I do it for? And sometimes I wonder, um, did I do it to? No, I have very conflicting ideas on that. No, I was very sincere about it. But when we would be like at church, say for instance, um, and he would stand up and share a scripture or whatever, I was very still shy. I was always shy, and they would always want you to stand up and share, and I never knew what to say. I was always embarrassed to, because I was afraid I'd get something wrong or sound stupid, or you know, um, I just always wondered, who was I doing that for? But even though it led me to where I am, which that's fine, that was by design. Um, I often thought about that. I did. I often thought about that. But anyway, yeah. So, um,
So anyway, as we wrap up, I just want to say that if you're watching this, please subscribe because it's really important. It helps the algorithm and all those kind of things. And we really want to be able to be used by the Lord. As you can see, our testimonies are different, but God can use any testimony. And God wants to use anyone's testimony because that's what he's in the business of doing. He wants everyone healed wherever they are and that they can follow him and live a life that he wants to bless them with. So I just want to encourage you that whatever struck you today, and hopefully it was, if you're someone living, still struggling with addiction, I hope that you can see that it's not a good place. And I hope that you can find someone that can come around you and support you in, in, in removing that from your life and dealing with that and finding the Lord and really diving into just falling in love with Jesus. Secondly, if you're someone and maybe you're a young believer and you're in a relationship that's not healthy for you, that you realize it's probably going to end in destruction and it's probably going to harm you, and you'll realize that it's really important for you to create a foundation that's solid in your walk with Jesus, and that nothing in this world is more important than that. If you want to have a journey with minimal regrets, if you want to live a journey that you can fully experience God's blessings on your life, then just really work on that solid foundation so it doesn't collapse when hurt or someone hurts you or whatever. Thirdly, what I just want to encourage anyone who is dealing with, if you're a sibling or a family member or an adult, a parent, whomever you are, and you're still struggling with addiction, I just want to tell you that there's nothing good coming from it. There's always harm. Nothing good ever comes from it, ever, ever. It's not doing you good. It's not doing the people around you any good. You're missing out on blessings from the Lord that will actually do good, that will actually make a difference in people's lives, that will actually bring you happiness. And I just pray that you will realize that and you will get the help that you need. But until next time on Dirtwater Sass and the series of the difference between A and B, we'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.